Do you think you're having a hard time going to college and taking care of all the rest of the things in your life all at the same time? Would $800,000 maybe make it easier to be where you are and to stick it out doing whatever it is you're doing? Well, $800,000 represents the difference in what you'll make if you stop at high school and go to work, and if compared to what you'll do if you go on to get an associate's degree and then go to work. And the $800,000 is over and above what you would make with a high school diploma in the first place. So everything that you were going to make, you can add $800,000 to it for a 40-year dedication. And if you go ahead to get a master's degree while you're still at it, then you could add $400,000 more to that. That'd be $1,200,000 above what an average high school graduate can make. And that's assuming you're on the labor market where the general flow of people and talents and everything else goes with you. I'd like to share a few experiences, because I'm afraid I did what I'm trying to convince you not to do. I started elementary school, and I was rather antisocial because I'd been living out in the country, and kids were non-existent. I was the kid. Every once in a while we get a neighbor or a cousin come through, and that was about all I had to deal with. And then when I went to elementary school, I was cast in with a lot of kids and didn't know what to do with them. I thought maybe I was supposed to fight them to start with, get rid of them. And that didn't work. I lost a good deal of that idea the hard way. And I stuck it out a while. After I found out that I couldn't whip them all, I went to work on the schoolwork. And somewhere around the 4th and 5th grade, I began to excel academically. And it felt good. I liked the compliments and praise that came from doing that. So the more I did it, the better I felt. And that continued until I got ready to go to junior high school. And I had done so well by the time I was going to junior high school, I skipped a grade. And right after that, junior high social life caught up with me, and I had to back up and repeat a grade just so I could keep up academically at that point. And this adjustment to real life carried on until I got into high school. Pretty early into high school, I figured out that the difference between them, and them being the people telling me what to do, and me, was education and maturity. And after after a year of high school and considerable thought, I put on a air of sophistication that was fake. I just declared myself as good as anybody else in the world, and began acting mature and proceeded with a zeal for all the education I could get my hands on or wrap my brain around. And the people teaching liked that attitude. They fell for it, or I fell in it, one or the other. And we got along beautifully through high school mostly. It didn't take long after I got an attitude and things started to click. I wound up in the jock homeroom where all the football players and track team were, and I could run. I was a country boy, so I wound up on the track team, and I was not good enough to be the best, but I was next to it, and that gave me a place of respect among some of the athletic folks. And along with that, I was soon the academically gifted schedule, and that by itself carries some sophistication, whether you earn it or not. And along with that, I got a bit of respect or respectful attention from the staff. And overall, I did well. That actually, all of that, I did so well that that it crossed my mind that that's another good compare and contrast speech to make someday about how you can get yourself into that situation or not, and how you come out the other end of it, which is primarily what we're talking about now. If you stay in college, I'm sure you've been here and stay in school all your life, and that's been going on forever and ever, and it changes incrementally as you get higher in the education chain. And I was declared after a while. They tested me to see just how well I was, and I concentrated and faked and anything else I could do. And they called me a lower level genius with athletic ability and artistic talent. And I just love that description of me. And I carried that on right on out of high school and further, as long as I could stand up to it. But before I got out of high school, the discussion part of this, or the subject part of this speech, came about. I got a job making minimum wage and bought an old car that looked nice before I graduated. And as soon as I was out of high school, I spent every dime I could possibly make on cars and girls and anything else that I thought was fun. And that carried on until I wound up in the Navy. I joined the Navy actually to fly jets, because working construction work is it's hard. It'll keep you physically fit or break you, one or the other. And I was fairly physical when I started, so it didn't break me down. But I got in the Navy, and jet planes were something that I was trying to aspire to. I had been playing with airplanes ever since I found one at an old airport in North Carolina, an old World War II airport. And the idea of flying just fascinated me. It still does. Anyway, I got in the Navy and came back out of there and went back to building houses, because the Navy was paying something like 35 or 40 cents an hour for your time in those days. And I figured it was just a waste. So I came out of the Navy, went back building houses, and after another stretch of that, I got tired of that and went to Albuquerque, where I worked in a warehouse for a year. That wasn't very exciting. It was beautiful country out there, but the minimum wage at East Coast was $5, and out there it was $3.50, and that's minimum wage is still what I was doing, because I had no paper to hang on the wall. And that's after a year of that, I decided, well, I'm gonna have to go back and do something better, because a step down for $2 an hour by going out west I considered it to be a failure. Anyway, I came back and started working on houses, building houses again, and doing home improvements and whatever else we could work. Started a business actually with my father, and we did fairly well. We maintained anyway. But after a while, I got that feeling again. I was still young and wild, so I joined a rock and roll band, and we traveled the country doing that. And it's a wonder that I didn't have so much fun it killed me along that way. And after a few years of that, I've met a lot of people and had a lot of what I considered to be fun. But I came back to the East Coast to build houses again. That's what I knew, and that's what I figured I'd be doing the rest of my life at that point. It was the best way I knew to make money, and all of my talents kind of came together right there. But I built houses for a long time, and then it became an asset. And I wound up getting the construction business experience to back me up getting a position with the government, inspecting buildings instead of building them. And when I got in that position, it was assured, steady paycheck, guaranteed, and it was not as high as I was sometimes in the construction business, but not as low as I was either. But so I figured I had stepped over the fence. I was on the other side now. I was working with the establishment, and I was set to go until I retired. And after a few years, actually a decade of that, I maxed out what I could be earning by the control standards. And I had nowhere else upward to go financially. I just had the job to do, and except for going political. Political seems to have no bounds. So I stepped over that line also. I never was afraid to try something, and I stepped out of building inspection into management, or attempted management and planning, local government planning. And I did fairly well at that too for a while. We did a fire marshal business, or I was the fire marshal in a county in North Carolina. And having a history as a fireman, that worked out well. But I ran into a maniac who was all politics, or what he wasn't politics, he was cliquish. He was a joiner of things that I probably will never have anything to do with. But he and his organizations attacked me like a bear on a piece of meat. Not literally, you understand, but he had dirty tricks that I had never even thought of. And I wound up in a fight with the state level government over whether or not I was competent. And I didn't lose the competent part, but I lost the position because this person stacked up lies like politicians do until they were overwhelming. And I didn't have that education that we're talking about now to counteract his negative. And it turns out that there's a whole world of politicians out there who do nothing positive. They're so negative that they're like a black hole to everything in their hemisphere. And their whole plan is to tear everything down any way possible and then rebuild it in their own method or standard, if there is any such standard there. We can look at our president right now and the chair of the House and look at two brick walls beating at each other, and they're just going nowhere and doing nothing. And that wasn't what I wanted to do, so I went back to college. I considered that to be the right, hard choice at the time. And now I'm about to finish up associate degree, and another semester after that graduation is done, I should be able to get a applied science degree on top of that. And then it's my intention, if my age doesn't put me all the way back to the beginning again, trying to get into the government work or get over that fence. But it is my intention to take them on one more time at least. And one of the things I'd like to let you know is, if you take off when you have a chance now, and take a respite or vacation or go out and earn some money or anything else you want to call it. When you get ready to go back, it's not going to be as friendly as it is now. I think what I'm trying to say is it's not going to get any better than it is now. And your financial aid, as it's coming now, and most of us are getting that, is going to dry up. The politicians are going to take that away. It was put there probably as a political recognition item in the first place. And sooner or later, a president or a speaker or someone in finance in the government is going to figure out that that's too much money going to too many people too low on the voting chain. And they're going to take that money away. And then if you try to come back to college after that, all that money they're paying is going to have to come out of you if you're going to get to it. It's going to be rougher. Starting over is exactly that. It is starting over. And when you get back in, I can tell you from experience right now that the college is in that political flow too. All of them are doing it. They need cash. They need a cash flow, and it's not being controlled. They need more cash flow continuously. So we're going to have to, when you come back to school, you're going to have to learn through required courses how to speak, how to write, how to study, everything else that has anything to do, everything you've learned in high school and up till now, you will most likely have to do over again and pay for it as you go. Unless things change drastically in the education business. And business is what it is. They're out there making money. When I started back, financial aid was a godsend because I had no money. And financial aid, along with an exemption for senior citizens, put me right in without a whole lot of trouble except for the level I had to come back in. Right, here is the line chart showing the Bureau of Labor Statistics comparison. And this is a list covering the same information. Here's the line chart